The October 7th meeting of the Bay City City Commission will come to order. The city clerk will give the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Dockett.
I'm here.
Rivet.
Yes.
Bernie. Here. Brunner.
Here.
Hilliker.
Here.
Gerard.
Present.
Clements.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
8 present.
Everybody's here, and we have a quorum. Next order of business is presentations. We have interviews tonight for the 7th Ward, and our first interviewee is Mr. DePiro. Mr. DePiro, if you'd like to come forward. The process that we're going to use tonight is a ranked choice voting, just so everybody's on the same page here. This is the process we've used for the past few appointments. Please, as we're going through these, your first pick will get 4 points, your second pick will get 3 points, third pick will get 2 points, last pick will get 1 point, and then we'll add up the total number of points and we'll make a recommendation based on the total number of points that everybody does, and then we'll vote on it and go from there. There are 5 candidates. You're right, 5 candidates. Yeah, we had 1 2 weeks ago. There are 4 tonight. I apologize. Any questions about the process before we begin? Okay, we will do round robin on the questions just like we did last time. I will take the first one, Commissioner Rivet will take the second one, and we will proceed through that way. So thank you for coming tonight, Mr. DePiro.
Thank you for having me.
We have 4 interviews set for tonight, and each one will be about 15 minutes. Why are you interested in becoming a member of the Bay City Commission?
I've been involved with the city for going on 14 years now in various capacities. I live here, my family's here, I plan on staying here, and I feel it a duty to serve the community.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivet?
Please discuss your prior experience working with civic, community, or governmental organizations.
Sure. I guess it started with the Citizens District Council of Columbus Avenue. Patty Stoll was our liaison from the city at that time. She got me involved in the first, it might have been the only Citizens Academy they ran, which was great. It was a program where they taught you about all the various facets of the city, all the services offered and all that. And I spent a lot of those years with the Columbus Avenue Citizens District Council, the Coordinating Council. For the last 3 years, I've been on the Board of Review. Love Wade and all those guys up there. And I think that's about it.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernie? If it's all right with everyone, I don't need to call on everybody. We can just proceed. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
What do you perceive your responsibilities to be as a member of Bay City Commission?
I think my priority as a commissioner would be just ensuring that fiscally sound decisions are made. So I'd be taking that approach as top of mind anytime an issue came up.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for coming in. Based on your knowledge of the city, what do you feel are the top 3 priorities, and how do they incorporate into your vision for the city for the next 10 years?
Well, I know on top of everyone's mind right now is the bridges and what's going on with all that. Seems like that decision's been made, but you know, what can we do to make that more tolerable to the city residents, for lack of a better word. The city's infrastructure is aging, I know that, so making sure that the investments that the city's making is in smart spots, and then things that we can do to increase the population. I think, we all know been losing population for a long time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi. Do you have any personal priorities that you hope to accomplish as a member of the City Commissioner?
I don't have any pet projects or anything like that.
Thank you. So as a candidate for the City Commission, what skills, strengths, and traits do you bring to us that enhance your value to this body?
So I graduated from Northwood University with a BBA in accounting. I have experience with fund accounting, governmental accounting, so I think that helps me hit the ground running at the commission level. We've already covered my roles that I've had with boards and such.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello. Are there any concerns or worries you have for the city of Bay City and serving on the commission?
Can you clarify that?
So, anything that you're concerned with for the city and how it may relate to your role as a city commissioner?
As far as like a big issue that's.
Or it could be, like a conflict of interest, something, maybe something you're involved in that where you wouldn't be able to get involved as a commissioner because something you're involved in, whether it be through work or personal or.
Yeah, so I work for a cannabis company out of Pink County, Michigan called Wojo LLC. They're a cultivator and processor. They're in Pink County, but I would, if the commission felt it appropriate, I would recuse myself of any votes related to cannabis or anything like that. I would have no problem doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Tell us how you would learn of city residents' views on various issues in your ward.
I have 2 children. I'm out and about. They attend Colb Elementary. I live right across the street. And I guess making myself available, I'm fine posting my email address or phone number for anybody to reach out to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your time and consideration.
Take a minute or so to collect your thoughts and write any additional notes. Actually, potentially could be more. We do have a schedule for Mr. Richardson. If you're ready, if you need the additional few minutes, you can have those as well.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much for coming, and we will switch over here. Once everybody's set with their notes, we'll start, and thank you for coming.
You're ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Excellent. Why are you interested in becoming a member of the Bay City Commission?
I've been living in the city now for 4 years. My wife is from up here, so we moved back to Essexville right around COVID time. I moved over to 7th Ward about 4 years ago. Well, it'll be our fourth Christmas over in the 7th Ward. And I've just been seeing what's going on in the area, and I just figured I could be part of that and bring some of the knowledge that I have and the experience that I have to Bay City and volunteer that back to help out the city grow.
Please discuss your prior experience working with civic, community, or governmental organizations?
Okay. In this area, not much, obviously, because I moved originally from Florida up here 7 years ago. But down there, I've been on Chamber of Commerce boards. I've been vice president, president of the boards down there. I've been a homeowners association board down there for our condo for almost 12 years, which we still own. And I just got reelected back on the board, even though it's our second place. So those are some of the things, and I've been very involved in my son's school down in Florida. Since we've come up here, I've really kind of have a lay of the land first, but I'm starting to get involved with him with his school and basketball, everything else that he's doing, and getting involved in that side of the business as well, and helping out the school with their planning processes and stuff. So I'm getting involved in that sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for coming. What do you perceive as your responsibilities as a member of the Bay City Commission?
I think the responsibility of any commissioner for whichever ward would be to understand their constituents, whether it be business or it be individuals. And I think that I feel is the biggest thing, listening from them, what their needs are, what their issues are, what their concerns are, making yourself available to understand that, and then bringing that to the attention when decisions are made within the group as far as what's best for the city, but taking into account what those wards need or what those wards are expecting. Although you can't please everybody, but at the same time, it's good to be able to understand what those needs are, both business and non-business.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Based on your knowledge of the city, what do you feel the top 3 priorities should be for the city, and how does that incorporate into your vision for Bay City over the next 10 years?
Based on what I've seen up here, I think infrastructure is something that always needs to be keep updated and is deteriorating a little bit, but money needs to be invested in that. I think it is a very nice city that I think we can attract people to come to. And how do you work with the businesses in the community to drive that, other than your typical stuff that's already happening? Your summer events where you have your concerts and stuff, and all those are great. But how do you get more back in, I think, to the arts and crafts side, bringing in the arts, whether it be from music, which we have a lot of, but maybe engaging more of a lot of the people in the area that create their own stuff. I think I see a lot of that stuff when arts and crafts are going on, but I don't think we demonstrated enough within the city and have enough of those kinds of events. So those are some of the things I'm thinking in my head from a long-term perspective, but how do you drive traffic so people come from other places to come here, because that then drives business, right? So it's heads on beds, whether it be the few hotels that there is in the city, but also whether it be just restaurants and purchasing and anything like that. So that's kind of my thoughts.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Do you have any personal priorities that you hope to accomplish as a member of the City Commission?
At the moment, no. There's no real personal priorities. I think it's more of, if I were to be selected, it's more to understand what my constituents first want and to understand from a business and individual perspective. Then from there, kind of figuring out if there are certain things in there that fit within that mold. But nothing personal, not really, other than what I said already on the 10-year plan on the previous question.
Hello.
Hello.
As a candidate for City Commission, what skills, strengths, or traits do you bring to us that enhance your value to this body?
Well, I've been over 30-something years now. I've been traveling the world, doing stuff for all kinds of Fortune 500 companies. I've owned about 7 different companies where I'm either an owner or part investor of, and I've gone around the world helping businesses turn from red to black, helping business market their abilities, their services, or anything else. So I feel those are some of the things that I bring to the table. I've negotiated for contracts for different people, so I have a lot of different experience and things, so I feel I bring that to the table in an ability to look at a bigger vision and then bring that down into an actual plan that you can actually implement and figure out how you can do that in a way that's, I guess, palatable. Because you may have $1 million plan, but you can only do it in bite size, right? 100,000 at a time. When do you do that? What is the phase, and how does that get implemented? So those kind of things I've done for years, and I think that's what I bring to the table.
Thank you.
Are there any concerns or worries you have for the city of Bay City and serving on the commission?
No, all of my businesses are outside of the city, so I have nothing within the city or nothing within the limits. I have a few customers that I do some marketing stuff throughout Michigan, but most of my business is international. Florida, Texas, and in Caribbean and Latin America. So I don't really have any specific concerns.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you again for coming. Tell us how you would learn of city residents' views on various issues in the 7th Ward.
Repeat that again, sorry.
Sorry. Tell us how you would learn of city residents' views on various issues within your ward.
Well, there's one thing that I don't see a lot, and I don't know if it's happening, maybe I'm not as engaged to understand that, but what I would do, if it were to be elected, one, I would go visit all the businesses that are within my ward. I think that's something just to get to know what they're doing, how they're doing their stuff, what are their concerns. And then from a resident's perspective, we'll probably hold a meeting on a regular basis, whether that be once a month or something, where they can attend and voice their concerns specifically for the ward, and be able to provide that feedback. And where possible, obviously, they can communicate anything in between via email or calls for stuff. But I think a personal interaction versus just electronic, I think even though I am in the digital age and I do a lot of digital stuff for my customers, I think we've lost track of that personal touch. And I think that personal touch is still important because that's how you get to find out, and you can see people's reaction, people's body language, how they react to things. You can see if it's emotional or it's real, or you get a different perspective on things by having somebody one-on-one and having a conversation. And it humanizes the process versus just send me an email and I'll get back to you. So I think those are some of the things I would do differently, or I would do in a position like this. Despite of being busy, I would make the time to do that because I think it's important if you're going to represent in this kind of a body.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
Nope, I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much. If everyone wants to take a minute or so, if Mr. Pryor is ready, or if not, we'll take a couple extra minutes. Okay, you are ready? We'll take about a minute to take some notes. Thank you. Looks like everyone's finishing their notes. Thank you for coming tonight, Mr. Pryor.
Thank you for having me.
We will start with Commissioner Burney for questions tonight.
Hello. Why are you interested in becoming a member of the Bay City Commission?
For the last 34 years, I've benefited personally by the city government as a whole and the city as a community, and it would be my opportunity to give back.
Thank you.
Good evening, thanks for coming. Please discuss your prior experience with civic, community, or government organizations.
Currently, I sit on the board of directors for the Bay County Senior and Child Center, which is not a government organization. It's a collective unit that provides GSRP, educational, preschool, daycare, and elder care for memory, Alzheimer's, and dementia patients. I am also currently on the Delta College Fire Science Advisory Board, in which we help develop the curriculum for future firefighters. Previously, I've been on the Bay County Medical Control Advisory Board. I sat on the Saginaw River All Hazard Committee, and I attended the Bay County Leadership class through the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. What do you perceive your responsibilities to be as a member of the Bay City Commission?
As a member, I would be part of 9 people that would be responsible for the legislative, executive, representation of my ward and the city as a whole, for developing long-term goals and developing the budget.
Thank you. So based on your knowledge of the city, What do you feel are the top 3 priorities that should be for the city, and how does that incorporate into your vision for Bay City over the next 10 years?
First thing would be economic stability and improvement, quality of life issues, which enamours a lot of different ideas, and public safety. It would be 10 years to do a building block to make all that improvement.
Thank you.
Do you have any personal priorities that you hope to accomplish as a member of the City Commission?
Yes, I do. Would like to make the right decisions for the right reasons at the right time. I would like to become a better commissioner moving forward if elected, and to be part of a team that does a collaborative effort moving the city forward.
Thank you.
As a candidate for City Commission, what skills, strengths, or traits do you bring to us that enhance your value to this body?
I believe I have integrity. I can provide leadership. I can be an active listener. I can be resilient to positively impact the city moving forward, even in demanding times. And I believe in communications.
Thank you.
Thank you again for coming tonight. Are there any concerns or worries that you have for the City of Bay City and serving on the commission?
If I am appointed or elected, getting up to speed on projects that are underway right now. I'd be coming in probably midstream on some, projects you guys have, so I want to get up to speed on that as soon as I could.
Thank you.
Tell us how you would learn the city residents' views on various issues in your ward.
I would be actively respond to any communication received. I believe there are plenty boards and commissions right now that focus on the 7th Ward. I could attend them meetings. And I would pick the brains of current commissioners and past commissioners, how they interact with their constituents from the 7th Ward or their ward.
Do you have any more questions for us, or any?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor. We'll take another minute or so to collect our thoughts. Looks like you're ready.
It's that close.
Keep an eye on everybody taking their notes, and then we'll start once they look all set. Yep.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. Could you please discuss why you're interested in being a member of the Bay City Commission?
Yeah, I'd like to start with a brief story, if I may. I won't go too far back, but in 1834, my ancestor, John B. Trudel, was a French-Canadian immigrant, planted roots in what would later become Bay City when he built his log cabin near present-day 17th and Broadway. John was what we referred to at the time as an Indian agent. That is, he engaged in commerce and agricultural endeavors with the local Native American population, who's lived and worked this land since well before our arrival. John did so on the behalf of the U.S. government. And in the 190 years since, my family has produced civil servants of many stripes. More recently, in the 5th and 6th generation, my family's given this city 3 parade marshals, at least one of which, possibly 2 if she's here yet. My mom, Molly, is here in the crowd this evening. In the 7th generation, my sister Katie, just down here, was St. Pat's Queen in 2004. I too had the privilege of serving my nation as a cavalry scout with the U.S. Army fighting in Iraq. And though I no longer wear the uniform, I believe it my civic duty to carry forward the mantle of service as I raise the 8th generation in our city. I also believe it the responsibility of every upstanding Bay Cityan to ensure that their community is afforded every possible opportunity to realize its aspirations as the cultural and economic hub of Mid-Michigan. It's to these ends that I'm seeking the commissioner's seat of the 7th Ward of Bay City. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, can you please discuss your prior experience working with civic, community, or governmental organizations?
Most of mine are more adjacent to those particular organizations that said I am a veteran, so there was a pretty large government organization I worked with. But if I were to say that, I have, in my time in uniform, I have been exposed to virtually every conceivable walk of life, every socioeconomic background, every race, religion, creed, political identity, all working together in cohesion as a unit to accomplish the mission at hand. Obviously, this gives me some experience with very diverse backgrounds. But in my professional life in sales, I'm daily subject to the negotiations between various stakeholders, each with their own competing interests, all of which looking for a resolution that is both appealing and practical. My profession does not exist in a vacuum. It requires a considerable amount of teamwork to build relationships that are both lasting and profitable. I also had time on the employee committee where I balance the interests of the company with the needs of our associates. Together, we've fostered a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion that made going to work more than just another job. And then lastly, I'd say my time as a captain for our local Team Depot chapter, which is our veteran foundation. I was regularly part of the grant writing proposal process, worked with suppliers, and coordinated our volunteer resources to effectively complete projects that benefited the quality of lives of our community's many veterans. These experiences equipped me with the ability to make strategic decisions under pressure, understand and work with diverse perspectives, and navigate complex negotiations, whether it's competing interests in my professional life, fostering a culture of inclusion on the employee committee, or completing service projects for veterans. I have consistently demonstrated my commitment to service and effective leadership and collaboration. I'm confident these skills will enable me to work with both the residents of the 7th Ward as well as the city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. What do you perceive as your responsibilities as a member of the Bay City Commission?
I believe the responsibilities of a city commissioner to be multifaceted, but rooted in a commitment to the residents of the ward as well as the city as a whole. This will mean engaging in meaningful dialogue, listening to residents' concerns, and ensuring that their voice is representative in the decision-making process of this body. I also believe that there's legislative duties. My duties in the legislative capacity would be to work with my fellow commissioners as we create and review policies, ordinances, and budgets that support the well-being and growth of Bay City. It's also incumbent upon us to ensure that we practice careful consideration in how our decisions impact the community, both in the short and long term. I also believe this to be a role of community engagement. I think a city commissioner should be accessible, approachable, and involved in the community. This means attending neighborhood meetings, responding to residents' concerns, and fostering a culture of collaboration and unity. And I also believe another key aspect of this role would be one of the promotion of transparency and accountability. And as a city commissioner, I assure you I'll use city resources effectively and ensure city services are delivered efficiently and equitably. And lastly, I believe this to be a role of collaboration, not just within the commission, but with all stakeholders, from city officials to local businesses and community organizations. Together, we can tackle the issues that face our city and seize on the opportunities made available to us. So in summary, I believe this to be several responsibilities, but primarily ones of advocacy and representation, legislative duties, of community engagement, and of collaboration, all working together to create a stronger and more vibrant Bay City for everyone.
Hi, Chris. Based on your knowledge of the city, what do you feel the top 3 priorities should be for the city, and how does that incorporate into your vision for Bay City over the next 10 years?
I'll try to keep this not very long-winded, but I would like to start by thanking fellow 7th Ward resident and commission applicant, Mr. Fitzpatrick, for bringing to our attention a couple weeks ago the amount of sirens that we hear in our community. Unfortunately, not all of those belong to police officers. Many of them do belong to ambulances, and unfortunately, many of those are due to overdoses. Our top priority should be saving lives. If we curb the rate of drug abuse in our community, we can not only prevent overdoses, but also make a significant impact to our crime rate. This, however, will take a light touch and not the heavy-handedness of prosecution. Over the course of the next 10 years, my vision is a community that has greater access to mental health and recovery resources. It shouldn't take a month or more to find a bed in rehab, nor should someone have to travel halfway across the state to find care. By partnering with existing resources, we can reduce this wait and travel time. And by educating our population and making available the life-saving drug Narcan, which is already gaining popularity in the availability at the rest areas across our state, we can significantly curb the rates of overdose deaths. Bringing what is among our most vulnerable residents up out of the depths of addiction will have a positive impact on our economy as well, as many of them have fallen out of gainful employment, experience housing instability, and tend to have less disposable income. I speak from experience. As an addict in recovery myself, clean 5 years, I experienced what far too many of our residents go through on a daily basis. I've been on the losing end of crippling addiction, unemployment, homelessness, and despair. Yet I am fortunate. I am now a homeowner, have a relatively high-paying job, and a loving family. Unfortunately, many do not have the support structure available to them that I have. So if there are any media in this chamber tonight, if you take one thing from this interview, please let it be this. To those struggling with addiction, to those who have all but given up hope at one day getting clean and back on track in life, know this: I hear you. Second, at a previous meeting, it was brought to my attention that we have the oldest population per capita in the state. This presents two primary challenges. One, what resources can we improve upon to ensure that our city's elders are properly cared for? My generation is significantly smaller than that of my parents, and we're fast coming up on a phase of life that will leave many of our residents vulnerable. If we don't create meaningful policies that address this reality now, we're going to soon confront a crisis of care that could have tragic consequences. And two, how do we bring younger people into our community? It's unfortunate to hear, but too many in my generation have grown up in Bay City have a euphemism that they affectionately use for our city. I won't repeat it here, but if you just change around a couple letters, the latter half of our city's name, and you can figure it out for yourselves. This is depressing to me. I've lived in this city my entire life, and I've seen what strides the city has made since I was just a little tyke when we worked together. If appointed to the seat, I will work toward changing the tide of our population decline by promoting cultural attraction, economic opportunity, and affordable housing. By working with our partners in Bay Future, Hey Bay City, and other community organizations, we can make Bay City an appealing place to live, work, and play. And then three, it was disheartening to hear at a previous meeting that in order to just maintain our infrastructure, we're going to require a budget 3 times what we currently have allotted for it. While we are graced with the grants that we have obtained from state and federal programs, we simply cannot rely on funding to always be available to us. And living in a climate such as we do, it's imperative that the conditions of our roadways be a priority for the foreseeable future. Over the next 10 years, it is my intention to increase the amount of funds available for road maintenance and upgrades to our infrastructure that bring us further and more fully into the 21st century. While at the same time negotiating more favorable terms for our city's expenditures and casting a wider net for grant programs that may not be fully taken advantage of. This includes not only roads and bridges, but also utilities, public facilities, and green energy initiatives. By investing in our future, we will create a more resilient, efficient, and attractive city, one that can support growth and prosperity for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any personal priorities that you hope to accomplish as a member of the City Commission?
Well, as I can imagine that most would understand, the first priority that I had as far as the top 3 facing Bay City is one that's near and dear to my heart. I'm sure that there's very few people in this chamber that have not been impacted one way or another by the addiction crisis that we face, or at least know of someone who has been. So that's my first priority, really, is just trying to, the addict population is among the least represented in society for obvious reasons, and I think that someone needs to be a voice for them. The other priorities would be really overturning our population decline. If I recall the numbers correctly, over the past 40 years, we've lost on average about 1,000 residents per year. That definitely weakens our tax base and reduces the vibrancy of our city. So that would be an area I'd want to focus on. The only other personal priorities I have is that my children see me engaging in my civic duty to try to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you.
As a candidate for City Commission, what skills, strengths, or traits do you bring to us that enhance your value to this body?
Well, there is the body of teamwork that I have in my past with various perspectives. I understand that not everyone in the body, this body particularly, will agree with each other on different resolutions and circumstances, but I do have a track record of finding a resolution that is appealing and practical, that we can get the most buy-in from our fellow stakeholders. That's one of the big ones I bring to it. The other thing I bring to it is a line of communication and the ability to take an abstract idea and come up with a concrete game plan, as often my customers regularly present me with.
Thank you.
Are there any concerns or worries you have for the Bay City, for the city or the Bay City in serving on the commission?
Nothing like a conflict of interest or anything like that. Obviously, I'm concerned about things like population decline and those types of things, but they don't really have a crossover with my own personal conduct. I am in sales, residential sales. I do door and window installs, so I would obviously recuse myself from anything that has to do with grant programs or anything to that nature that may give a potential customer money. So those are the only concerns I would really have.
Hello.
Hello?
Are there any concerns or worries you have for the city of Bay City? Tell us how you would learn of city residents' views on various issues in your ward.
I'd like to meet them where they are. So some residents aren't going to be as apt to using things like social media, though that would be an avenue I would pursue for learning about what's going on. They have things like the Nextdoor app, obviously Facebook, things that are, if you haven't heard of Nextdoor, it's a social media app for local neighborhoods. But beyond that, if we have residents who aren't as engaged in social media, I plan on conducting regular neighborhood meetings somewhere within the ward, typically a restaurant, something to that effect. Obviously, my email and phone line would be open to any resident for any concern anytime they have it. Something I do in my professional life as it is. There's not a phone call I miss, just in my professional life. I would extend that, obviously, to working with my constituents. And then there's also the residents that come to these meetings and bring up concerns at this very podium. So I would be present, obviously, for every one of those and try to fully understand what it is that their concern is. But it would be mostly a mixture of traditional communications methods, social media, and in-person meetings. So I can both make sure I'm understanding their concerns, and both so they can see my face and know that I'm a part of the community and there for them.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us this evening?
I mean, if someone can tell me why my power's been out 4 times in the past 2 weeks, that'd be great.
That would be a different time to talk.
No other questions then?
Thank you. I think we can make something work for that last one as well tonight. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And if Mr. Fitzpatrick wishes to come forward to do another interview, you're welcome. If you are happy with the one from before, we can accept that one as well. I see you here. We have a little bit more time, and I feel it's only fair to offer the opportunity to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Again, I think that I bring a lot of experience to the community, and I can bring that to the 7th Ward as well. And I appreciate all the comments tonight from various candidates, and I would like to become a part of this community and council, and bringing that experience to Bay City. Every community right now is going through problems, so I think that we need experience to bring those problems to fruition and to correct those issues that we have as a community. So if you want to go through the questions again, I'm more than willing to stand here and answer them for you, but I'm comfortable with my statements that I made previously.
Okay. I'll leave the choice to you. If you want to go through them again, we can. If you would rather
Yeah, we can go through them again.
On the statement? Okay, we can go through them again. Commissioner Hilliker, please.
All right. Hello. Why are you interested in becoming a member of the Bay City Commission?
Can you say that again? I am very hard of hearing. I'm partially deaf, so
Why are you interested in becoming a member of the Bay City Commission?
I'm interested into, making Bay City a better place. I see a lot of communities, and I see some of them are not moving forward in a very productive manner, and I see a lot of them that are moving forward in a productive manner. And I would like to take those things that I see from communities in the Midwest that are making their communities better, and I'd like to bring that to Bay City for consideration and moving forward. There's a lot of different aspects of how you can handle that, way more than you can have here at a meeting tonight, but it's one of the things that I do have, and redevelopment of various properties in and around the Midwest.
All right, please discuss your prior experience working with civic, community, or governmental organizations.
I started out as a planning commission member for Port Sheldon Township over on the west side of the state. I was also a chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals for Blendon Township and a interim supervisor in Blendon Township, both in Ottawa County. I spent 14 years in the Michigan National Guard, serving the state as a construction supervisor and a demolition sergeant, among other aspects of it. So being an enlisted individual, but having an engineering license within the state, it allowed us to bring a lot of community action projects to fruition, where we built ball fields for communities, and then also did a lot of work at Fort Custer and Camp Grayling and bringing those, making better promotion. But you got to bring a lot of people together to make those things happen and get them done within a 2-week time period. So those are some keys.
Thank you.
What do you perceive your responsibilities to be as a member of the Bay City Commission?
The number one priority is to make Bay City a good place to live and raise your family, work, and things of that nature, to promote a community that works together for the betterment of the community. It's a great place. I grew up in a town very similar to Bay City in Muskegon. Moved here in 2020, and I think it's very similar in all aspects of it. I think that Bay City does a great, bringing people down to Winona Park and those types of events and things like that. I'd like to expand on that, but also what can we do to increase business and expand some businesses that are in the community to create better jobs. If we can get better jobs into the community, I think it just feeds everything else. Just brings in families, makes it a better place to live.
Thank you.
Based on your knowledge of the city, what do you feel the top 3 priorities should be for the city, and how does that incorporate into your vision for Bay City over the next 10 years?
Infrastructure is important, very important for the community. The roads and that are in somewhat disrepair. I don't want to say anything bad about this community, but I think everybody does not enjoy going over potholes and things of that nature. I think that's very important. As a priority, crime and drugs, I think was mentioned as well, and the addictions and things of that nature, to try to cut down on the number of crimes and things like that. When you're sitting up at night and you hear shots being fired, it just breaks your heart. And if we can curb some of that happening in the community, that would be a really big priority, I think, for the entire community. So among other things, like I said before, creating jobs in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you again for coming, Mr. Fitzpatrick. Do you have any personal priorities that you hope to accomplish as a member of the City Commission?
I'd like to, if I had a personal priority, would be to expand on the number of unvacant buildings, making places work again. There's way too many vacancies, and I see it all across the Midwest, but I also see a lot of places that thrive on, that are thriving, that are putting businesses in those vacancies and helping move that forward. If you ever been to Holland, Michigan, or Galena, Illinois, it's a nice place where you can walk right down the street and go to many places that, for shopping and things like that. I think it draws people into that community. And it has to do with planning and how you plan that and get those people in there in those places. Is Bay City there? They have some aspects of that, but it's not the same. You have a little bit of disparity on that zoning and things like that. And I think that we could do a better job replanning type of the community a little bit that way and directing it more towards that tourist type of area, but yet still having the working class surrounding the entire Bay City. And that's one of the things that I know Holland is a lot like that. I'm not saying we got to bring it to Holland, or bring Holland here, but getting people to invest in the community as a philanthropy, business owners and things of that nature that can help the Downtown Development Authority and help the Chamber of Commerce and the Bay County. I think we worked with Jim a little bit, Renew, on getting our facility out in Essexville up and running. It's just, we want to be able to, I think, make it a better place overall. And I think doing that with some zoning modifications might help.
Thank you. Before we move on to the next question, there's a phone that's gone off a couple times. If you'd be so kind as to silence that. Thank you.
As a candidate for City Commission, what skills, strengths, or traits do you bring to us that enhance your value to this body?
I spent 40 years engineering consulting and planning for communities. Then also now on this side of where I work, building or putting businesses, granted it's only storage, but we also bring in mixed uses as well with our developments where we're flexible. And bringing that flexibility to Bay City, I think there's some degree of rigidity maybe with zoning and things of that nature, but if you can bring that flexibility and how you can do something with another business that would promote more business, I think that would help a lot, Joe. Like, I'm just going to use it as an example. The city of Aurora, Illinois did not want storage in downtown. What did we do? We pivoted and we put the DMV in the front of the building and a restaurant in the other side of the building. So we have, and a car wash. So we have a car wash in the parking lot, restaurant, and a Department of Motor Vehicles. And then in the back we have storage. So it was a win-win-win for everybody. But we couldn't do that without having some flexibility from the community and from our business and from zoning. So those types of things, I think, really help out a community progress through that. And when you progress, the infrastructure can get better, and you're going to have more tax dollars, you'll have more people, and you have a better community.
Are there any concerns or worries you have for the city of Bay City in serving as a commission on the commission?
Last time I was here, I think I answered that I didn't have any concerns. But I think I have more concerns now. the main concern is the representation of the people in the 7th Ward. We have been here with, what, 6, 7 months now without representation on the city council. And I think it's important that in a representative republic that we have that throughout from the bottom up. And this is, you know, the first step. The community is your first step. And I think it's important to have that representation. So yes, I believe that that's important for the people that live in the 7th Ward to have representation.
Thank you.
Tell us how you will learn the residents' views on several issues in your ward.
Say that again, sir? Please.
Tell us how you will learn the views of the residents on several issues in your ward.
I talk to a lot of residents now, especially the people in Pine Towers, since they're right in my backyard. But I have a lot of neighbors, and I talk to the neighbors in the area around Veterans Bridge. And there's also other people that are in the community that I'm getting to know down even further in the south of the area. But if there's an idea that comes up, either social media or in the paper or here, you know, get together at a community center and find out what those issues are and how we can solve them. You know, a lot of times it's a perception, but if we can separate perception from reality, and once we find that reality, we can identify the problem and do some brainstorming to fix that problem.
Thank you.
And do you have any questions for us?
I do not. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of the candidates who came tonight and applied and answered questions. I know job interviews are difficult, and it's even more difficult when you have to do it in public in front of a bunch of people. So thank you for coming and doing that tonight to all of you. You were all fantastic. So the process that we do on this is we'll take a recess for 10 minutes or so. Everybody will write down their scores. Again, your highest ranked person is 5 points, second becomes 4 points, third becomes 3 points, fourth becomes 2 points, and fifth becomes 1 point. Give them to me on a sheet of paper. I will tally them all up, and then I have a resolution kind of pre-written for appointing somebody to the seat. I'll add that name in based on what everybody writes, and then we'll release the sheet as well. I'll give it to the clerk to give it to anybody who's interested after the meeting. Does that work for everyone in the commission? Anyone have questions on how that works? Pretty good? Okay, we will take a 10-minute recess. It is 6:52 right now. We will resume at 7:02. All right, we're gonna get started in just a second here. If everybody could find their way back to their seats, please. Time is 7:02, and we are back in session. There are no more presentations tonight. The next order of business is adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Commissioner Brunner?
Move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Hilliker?
Second.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission wish to add any item to the agenda? Commissioner Clements?
Yes, I have a resolution to add to the agenda for a mayoral appointment. I think the clerk will hand it out. You want me to read that now or read it when?
Please.
I'll wait for her to hand them all out. Okay, whereas the city of Bay City is currently without a mayor due to the recent resignation of Mayor Kathleen Newsham, and whereas the City Commission of Bay City is authorized by the city charter to appoint an individual to serve as mayor in the event of a vacancy until the end of the current term, and whereas Jesse Dockett, the current commission president of the City Commission, is currently presiding over meetings and acting as the official signatory for the city in the absence of a mayor, And whereas Jesse Dockett is a qualified individual and has expressed willingness to serve as the mayor of Bay City. And whereas the City Commission believes that Jesse Dockett will act in the best interests of the citizens of Bay City and carry out the duties of mayor with integrity and dedication. And whereas the City Commission wishes to avoid a conflict where the president of the commission is required to both vote and serve in some capacities as mayor, ensuring a clear separation of responsibilities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Jesse Dockett is appointed as mayor of the City of Bay City, effective immediately, to serve until the end of the current term, December 31st, 2024. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect upon its adoption by the City Commission.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Gerard?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll on the amendment to the agenda?
Discussion?
We can do discussion, but we don't have discussion in the schedule. But that's okay. We can do discussion. Commissioner Rivet?
Thank you.
Just to be clear, discussion will be on adding it to the agenda, not the resolution itself.
But I thought I should have the opportunity to object.
Absolutely.
Object.
Okay.
Object.
That's okay. There's an objection on the floor. Is there discussion on the objection? Yep, we add one at a time. So there's like 3, I think, tonight. Yep. So any discussion on the objection? Commissioner Burney?
No, I don't have oh my goodness, I don't understand this situation right here because I was putting my resolution in at the same time and it was about the same situation but the opposite. So I don't know how we're going to take care of this because it's about the, I handed mine out first because my resolution is about the illegal voting of you being the mayor. Sitting as mayor, you're not supposed to vote, but you have been voting. So then, before
Point of order, this is discussion on the
no, don't cheat.
Point of order.
Commissioner
I
Burney?
put mine in first, and then you come back
Okay.
with one before mine to vote him in to vote when he has already been
Commissioner
voting.
Burney? Commissioner Burney, we're voting to put this on the agenda. We will next vote to put yours on the agenda. So they'll both be voted on to be put on the agenda. So we'll have multiple. And then we'll vote on,
Just so you know.
if they are put on the agenda, they'll both be voted on when we get to them in the meeting. Okay? Commissioner Rivet?
Call the question.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll on the amendment to the agenda?
Clarify what a yes and a no means, please.
Yes, we'll place the Clements resolution on the agenda. Commissioner Rivet?
No.
Burney?
No.
Brunner?
Yes.
Hilliker?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clements?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Dockett?
Abstain?
5 yes, 2 no.
Okay. Do any other members of the commission wish to add any additional items to the agenda? Commissioner Byrne?
Yes.
Would you be so kind as to read it?
Whereas the City of Bay City has charter rules that are to be followed as read by the City Commission and the mayor while sitting on an elected seat. Whereas on several occasions, in absence of the mayor or commissioner, President Dockett has taken on her duties. Whereas President Dockett has been voting, passing minutes and agendas when sitting in as the mayor, which in section 3.3.2/3.3.3 charter rules for mayoral duties, the mayor is not allowed to vote. This is not legal. Ordinance 2-304, temporary absence of the mayor in the ordinance, you are not supposed to vote whatsoever if you are sitting as a mayor. This is being voted in, what Mr. Clements is
Commissioner
trying to
Bernie,
vote
you
in
have to
before
finish
this
reading.
goes through. Excuse me,
Please.
I'm not done.
You have to finish reading. Thank you.
All written and signed, be it resolved, all written and signed minutes and agendas by President Docket be forfeited. Be it further resolved, the clerk send over all agendas and minutes for the month of September 2024 immediately to the Michigan Department of Attorney General's office as of today.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivet. Any discussion, objections? No objections. Will the clerk please call the roll on the item?
To add Commissioner Bernie's item to the agenda, Commissioner Bernie? Yes, no?
Yes.
Brunner?
No.
Hilliker?
I'm sorry, point of order. Do we have to vote if there's no objection?
Yes.
No.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clements?
No.
Morris?
Yes.
Docket?
Abstain.
Rivet?
Yes.
There is 4, 2, 3. There is no quorum, so it will have to be 5 to be on the agenda. It does not pass.
The resolution will not be added to the agenda. And if it's all right with everyone, appointing the 7th ward, I'd like to do it commission as a whole. Is that all right with everyone? Any opposition to that? Okay. Of commission as a whole, be it resolved, Christopher Runberg is appointed as 7th Ward City Commissioner effective October 8th, 2024, to serve until the end of the current term. Is there a second? Commissioner Gerard?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any objection? Seeing no objection, will the clerk please take the roll?
Commissioner Brunner?
Yes.
Hilliker?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clements?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Docket?
Yes.
Rivet?
Yes.
Bernie?
Yes.
8 yes.
Motion is adopted. This will be on the regular agenda towards the end of the meeting. Next order of business is,
Adopting it.
skipped ahead
Amended.
a bunch. Adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? I'm sorry.
We've already done that. Just, we need roll call as amended.
There we go. Will the clerk please call the roll call on the adoption of the agenda as amended? I apologize.
Commissioner Hilliker?
Yes.
Gerard?
Yes.
Clements?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Docket?
Yes.
Rivet?
Yes.
Bernie?
No.
Brunner?
Yes.
7 yes.
Next order of business is the consent agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to make a change to the consent agenda? Commissioner Morris?
Reports of Officers 7. City Manager recommending contract with Thomas Brown and Sons Roofing Co.
Thank you. Reports of Officers 7 pertaining to Brown Roofing will be on the regular agenda. Anyone else? Commissioner Bernie?
I'd like to have a discussion about the accounts and claims. Do I wait for that for, I want to pull that off. Number 2. I want to pull off number 2.
Number 2, accounts and claims. Okay. Number 2, accounts and claims will be on the regular agenda. Anyone else? Seeing none. Next order of business calls for public input on the consent agenda. This is the opportunity for citizens to remove an item from consent for consideration on the regular agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to make a change, please come to the microphone, sign the registration sheet, state your name and address for the record, and the item that you wish to have considered on the regular agenda. If you could as well, please print your name. Some signatures are difficult to read for the clerk's office. Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda? Commissioner Brunner?
Move to approve the consent agenda?
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Hilliker?
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the consent agenda?
Commissioner Hilliker,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Docket,
Yes.
Privet,
No.
Bernie.
Oh,
I'm sorry, was that
no.
Brunner?
Yes.
6 yes.
Motion is adopted. Next order of business is remarks of the mayor and commission. Do any members of the commission wish to talk about anything? Commissioner Bernie?
Going back to this, I would like you to explain to me, are we following charter rules? What I would like you to do is explain to me what your job is when it comes to, for the full time that we have, when the mayor was absent, and you were sitting on the mayor's seat, and you were still voting. What was the difference from when we always follow the charter? You had not been following that rule. And I see that we have been passing, you have been signing the agendas and the minutes, and so have you. So what happens to those agendas in those minutes that you have been signing in place of the mayor? Those are not legal. So where do we go from there?
So after this question came up at the last commission meeting, Ms. Muscat and myself had a discussion with the city attorney. And the city attorney, and during that meeting, if you recall, I agreed that I would abide by whatever the city attorney said during that meeting. And we had a conversation with him, and he came back and said that it was fine for me to kind of fill in as the mayor for running the meetings, but I was not the mayor. I can't make appointments. I'm not marrying people. I'm not, prior to October 1st, not the executor of signatures and things. But we did have a conversation about the confusion of doing double duty now, where I'm the signature, I'm filling in some more capacity, and I'm still legally allowed to vote, and I'm still legally allowed to sign the minutes and everything like that. The opinion was sent to you in your email, and I know that you disagree with that, but I didn't go to law school, and I don't believe you went to law school, but our city attorney definitely did. And that's where we had several conversations about what the process looked like and what needed to be done. So that's the ruling, and I agreed to abide by it, so I plan to abide by it.
Okay, the attorney's letter right here states that he really did not want to be involved with this situation because it says right here, in my opinion, his opinion, the resolution does not encompass the restrictions contained in section 4.2 or the power contained in section 4.3. Therefore, his opinion, when it comes down to the full fact of the matter, the ordinance 2-304, temporary absence of the mayor, means that we had to vote you in before you could sign anything, or you could become the mayor and sit on the mayor's seat. So that meant this mayor's seat would be vacant. You wouldn't be able to sign the paperwork. So I want to know, all of that funding money, all of the funding money that you used, that you signed for the minutes and so have you, that paperwork, those funding monies, that should be forfeited because it's illegally signed. So could you please explain that to me? If the attorney is saying it was in his opinion, and then there was a letter that came back from Dana, And in that, she said, I figure I'll assume. It says she assumes that it's okay with her that you're able to sign. Here's the letter right here. She assumes. But when we go back to the ordinance, legislation, charter rules, you were not allowed to sign any of that paperwork. The month of September, at one point, we had signed millions of dollars. You signed for it, so what I'm saying, the people deserve that money back. You gave away our money.
Actually didn't sign for millions of dollars. The mayor signed for millions of dollars at that time. The only thing I was signing prior to October 1st were minutes and the authorization to release paychecks.
September 3rd,
And also,
the mayor was not here. The clerk, right here on the agenda, I'll pull him up. The clerk stated she was here. She wrote and said she was here. She was not here on September 3rd. She said none was absent. The clerk wrote on the agenda, she was here. The 16th of September, the clerk wrote, the mayor was here. She was not, you were, and that falsified information. So you signed because it's on the agenda in the minutes. Where are the people's money? Why did you sign, falsify, and sign that paper? And why did he try to vote you in today?
again, I didn't sign where you're referring to. I signed the minutes, which is not signing the release of funds. It's signing the record that we voted on releasing the funds.
When you signed the minutes and you signed the agenda, that means it's a legal document. Am I right or wrong?
It's a legal document that states what we did during the meeting. It doesn't actually release the funds. It's just a record of the meeting. And also, if we really want to get into the weeds, we can read the entire email from Mr. Wackerly, because you're kind of mixing your own personal opinions into his statement.
Well, since you're not the mayor, you weren't the mayor at the time, you had no right to legally sign any paperwork or even vote. If you were taking the mayor's seat and you were sitting on as a mayor's seat, pretending it says in the ordinance that you were not supposed to do any of the voting. So you were voting as an extra person in sitting as mayor. Am I right or wrong? I just want to elaborate on that. Am I right?
You're wrong, again. Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Girard.
Yeah, just for some clarification, I had a couple residents reach out. They're concerned because some of the political signs do have some vulgarities listed. I don't know if there's anything we can do about that because of First Amendment rights. Okay, I just want to clarify. And then I know we passed on the first reading for tonight loitering, the removal of that. Could that just be discussed on? We don't enforce or it can't. There's just some residents did reach out the concern that we don't, by removing this, the police have no teeth to ask people to leave certain areas, or could that just be discussed? Because we have to read it a second time just to.
Can we get a motion to suspend if we're going to have the chief come up? Commissioner Hilliker.
Move to suspend the regular order of business.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Girard.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Seeing none, rules are suspended.
Just a speaker came up a couple weeks ago to talk about the loitering ordinance, and from the time I was hired in 1998 and trained, we were told not to enforce the loitering ordinance because it was not constitutional. This came from Neil Wackerly back then. It's still the same. There's several parts of it that are not constitutional. We haven't enforced it in the 26 years I've been here. So I thought just removing it from the books would clear any confusion about it.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Commissioner Hilliker.
Motion to get back in the order of business.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Brunner.
Second.
Thank you. Any objection? Seeing none, we are back in the regular order of business. Any other discussion under remarks of the commission? Seeing none, we will move on to the manager's report. Mr. Reyes, do you have anything for us tonight?
I don't.
Nothing. Next order of business calls for public input. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Clements will serve as the timekeeper. This is the opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding any agenda item or any other matter. If anyone wishes to address the commission, please come forward, sign the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record. And again, please print your name as well so that the clerk can read your name and put it in the minutes correctly.
I'll cheat since I was on the wrong side today. Alex Stewart, 1309 South Erie. I didn't want to pull the first reading for the loitering thing because I knew that it was just a first reading, but I'm glad that we're moving forward on this, and I'm glad to hear what the chief just said about having been forced it since at least the turn of the millennium, so I'm glad that that's been a dead thing for so long. We're finally getting rid of that as people are starting to find small things that are not enforceable and trying to push them on members of this community. I'm also glad that the clerk's office is getting a grant for the from the Institute of Responsive Government for election administration, because I know with the changes we've had in the past 6 years for state law and the external pressures from many individuals, that they need as much assistance as they can get. And I'm glad that they're getting a little bit of relief funding to help replace some items that they need for more efficient processing, so we can get done on election night a little bit earlier in Bay City. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Hi, my name is Cindy Hinkle. I live on State Street. Pretty soon it's going to be winter time. It's going to be cold out. We have a lot of homeless people out there. We have old people that are homeless. We have young single moms with babies that are homeless. I feel Bay City has had almost 4 years to do something about this, being that rent has gone up, skyrocketed out of control. I myself may be homeless next June because my lease is up and I can no longer afford rent. I have put in for housing and in January, and nothing yet. I'm from Mile. I lived up there for 25 years. I came down here after an abusive marriage and divorce. I cannot work. I was able to pay my rent until June. I won't be able to afford to pay it. But I'm just wondering what this commission is doing about the homeless problem. Are we shoving it underneath the rug and just saying, hell with it? Are they at the bottom of the list, the bottom of the barrel? You know, we talk about the addiction problem and how it's caused homelessness. It's not true. It's more than just addiction. It's causing homelessness. It's not being able to afford rent. People have nowhere to go. This is so not right. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Bruce?
Bruce Eckhart, 810 Germania Street, Bay City, Michigan. First of all, I'm presently going to be running for the. Everybody, can you hear me? Okay, committee. I'm going to be running for District 6. Also, I'm very, very worried about what's going on in my county, in my state, and in my country. Word is getting back to me. We have people coming in our facilities or motels, and they are not American citizens. They're undocumented. We don't know nothing about them, but they got cards. I don't know if they're debit cards or what. They're like apparently Euclid Motel. They're in Auburn. They're all over the place. They're dropping them in. And we have a situation down in the south down there, the flooding there, the hurricanes, all that. And we can't give them nothing down there. The government won't give them nothing. But we've got people coming in from the border, giving debit checks, $60,000, $70,000, free medical help, Social Security, all this, but we can't help our people out. And that's right here in our own area here. So I don't know what to tell you. We got to wake up now. My yard sign, you'll see it, Bruce Eckhart for Ward 6. Some of the other yard signs will be on the other side that are not doing a damn thing about our borders, and yet they're in bed with them. So what we got, fentanyl coming in, you've got all these undocumented sex harassment people coming in, sexual hacks, they're coming in, and they're not doing nothing about it. And then you people who complain about the people here are starving, the street people don't have no place to live, so they have to go to the library and lay down there. So what we're going to do in the library, we're going to start having more people from the other areas of our world we don't know nothing about, and they're going to start laying down there in the library, and we don't know what they got. They might be killers. We have no idea. So I don't know. You guys better start waking up. Your little petty things you want done, you're not going to get done, because I watched today in where was it? Pittsburgh, a little town there. They've just got 20,000 there. They took over the city. We don't have enough money, no taxes, no nothing. They did a thing in Ohio. They're hitting all these cities, and all we do is, sit back. And so I don't know about these people that are on the other side with their yard signs. Are they supposed to be true Americans? Do they believe in the Constitution, Bill of Rights? I'll just take a look at that. Thank you again.
Thank you. Are there any others? Okay. Seeing none, next order of business calls for public hearing. This is the opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding public hearing number 1, Responsible Contractor Ordinance, Responsibility Public Hearing, Flotation Docking Systems Incorporated. Is there a motion to allow for public hearing number 1? Commissioner Clements?
Motion to allow for public hearing 1, the Responsible Contractor Ordinance for Flotation Docking Systems Incorporated.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Morris?
Second.
Thank you. If anyone wishes to address the commission regarding public hearing number 1, please come forward, sign the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record. And again, please print as well so that the clerk can take a note.
My name is Joni Berger, and I am here tonight to represent my employer, Flotation Docking Systems, and to request that the city reconsider our determination on our recent submittals of non-responsible contractor based on a pattern of safety negligence and from our EMR, our emergency experience modification rating of 1.2. We have been in business for 50 years. I've worked for the company for 30 years with the original owner and his wife, and now with their son and daughter-in-law who have taken it over. It is a mom and pop company, 33 employees average, and I absolutely know without a doubt that the safety of our employees is our number one concern. They are our number one asset. The pattern of safety negligence, I would question that statement. We have had 0 workers' comp claims to date this year. We had 1 last year that was for $78. The year before, we had 4, one of which was an employee who became dizzy and collapsed. We took him to the walk-in clinic. He was dehydrated from not drinking enough water, which is provided and available during breaks. But we list everything as contractors are supposed to on their workers' comp logs and on our OSHA logs. So when you say pattern of safety negligence, I question that determination because we are not negligent at all. It's contractors, it's marine mechanics. No matter how many safety precautions we put into place and how many safety meetings we have, there is going to be human error, and they're working with power tools, and things are going to happen, and we report them, whether they're tiny things, even if there's no payout for it, or if they're larger things. We did have a larger claim in '22 where an employee was at a local customer's job site, and he stepped off onto the rubble mound, rip-rap, and twisted his ankle. So we paid for his surgery for that. And the year before that, one of our employees in the manufacturing plant had shoulder surgery, rotator cuff surgery. And that was a big claim. It was a $46,000 claim, which when you have 33 employees in your business, that can really skew your modification rating. So we are currently in the process of doing docks for the state of Michigan at Port Austin. We're currently installing 3 different fishing pier systems in different state parks. The state of Michigan's been our biggest customer over the years, and we are very much concerned about our employees' health and safety, and we would really like to continue working with City of Bay City and to have that contractor rating reinstated, because we are not non-responsible in any way, shape, or form.
You'd have to suspend the rules, but if you want to suspend the rules.
I'd like to suspend the rules to ask a question.
Is there a second? Commissioner Morris?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any objection to suspending the rules to ask questions of the speaker? Seeing none, proceed.
Yep, thank you for coming tonight, appreciate it. My question is, have you had any OSHA violations? Just wondering how, the 1.2 EMR number doesn't just happen.
No, and I do have our agent, when I requested this hearing, we didn't have this information to submit, but I do have our Everest insurance, workers' comp insurance loss runs on everything, and that will help determine. I'd be happy to leave copies with whoever for further consideration, but what my insurance agent has told me is that it's based on how few employees we have and the dollar amount that was paid out of, the value percentage of our payroll, which obviously is a small company, isn't big. And then the amount of the claim. The shoulder surgery one was the big one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others while the rules are suspended? Commissioner Gerard?
Just a question on the projects you have done in the past for the city of Bay City?
Yes, we've been working with the City of Bay City on the dock replacement at Liberty Harbor Marina.
So you've been doing that project all along?
We installed those docks 30 plus years ago, and now we're back. We replaced D-dock system. We have a contract currently for C-dock system. We would like to continue working with the city on B&A as those become available.
I don't know if this is to the acting manager. Were they in compliance last year and then they came out of compliance?
It was 2 years ago we last submitted, and we were approved then.
We review the responsible contract norms every 2 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others? Seeing none, so I just want to make everyone aware, and I'm sure you're aware of this already, but when looking at OSHA regulations, there are 3 different sets of OSHA regulations, or 4 different sets of OSHA regulations. Maritime is broken out separate because of the hazards of literally working on a shifting ground all the time. There's a lot of problems there. So the rest of our responsible contracting ordinance is not really built around maritime OSHA. It's built around general and construction. So it's almost impossible for these guys to meet that. So This will come forward for a vote at the next meeting, just so everybody's aware. Is there anyone else before I ask for a motion to go back? Okay, can I get a motion to go back into the regular order? Commissioner Gerard?
Move to go back in regular order business.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Clements?
Does that need a second?
Yes. Thank you. Any objection to going back in the regular order? Seeing none. Okay, we're back in the regular order. Does anyone else wish to address the commission regarding public hearing item number 1? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to the regular agenda. Will the clerk please call the next item of business?
From consent item 2, accounts and claims, city manager, presenting accounts and claims in the amount of $2,010,423.52, and investments and wire transfers in the amount of $6,095,395.04 for 9/23/24, and accounts and claims in the amount of $681,787.71, and investments and wire transfers in the amount of $1,390,451.33 for 9/30/24, and accounts and claims in the amount of $910,174.15, and investments and wire transfers in the amount of $10,104,986.37 for 10/7/24.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Clements?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Brunner?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Burney?
It's very nice to meet your acquaintance, Mr. Tony Reyes. Okay. I'm constantly wondering, I'd like an explanation, and I know the city, the people would like an explanation of where are these wire transfers going to? I'd like a breakdown of that, the places it's going to, what are we investing our money in, the names of the places. I would really like to know, where's this money being wired, what company, what for?
There's a breakout for each one of the listings, accounts and claims. There's a lot of entries on those pages around, I believe it starts on page 39. There's an individual itemized list of all the different transfers.
I would like every company that you are wiring money to. Every time I see investments and then I see wire transfers in the amount of $10 million, I see accounts and claims, and you're only saying the amounts, and you're saying you wire, and you're saying your investments. I'm not seeing the name of the company, Western Union. I'm not seeing anything that is proving that this money is leaving this city and going to a destination. I would like proof of the destinations, where the money is going to, the destinations. And I would like it to be posted so the people, the citizens of Bay City, will be able to see where their money is going. So I would like that as soon as we can have our clerk or our accountant put that together. I would really like to see where the money is being wired to. That's what I'd like. Thank you.
Thank you. And for anybody who's also interested in the full packet for this meeting, it's on page 39 of the full packet. So if you just click on that page, there's a spreadsheet of all of the expenditures and where they're going to.
Okay, but a lot of the people, the community, a lot of things they don't get, and they don't have a breakdown, and they don't understand. So, even if you just said, like the $10 million right here, it says wire transfer of the amount of $10 million. That amount alone, they're not going to understand you're wiring it to one place, right? Okay, if you're wiring the $10 million, because it looks like a hole, or a certain place that you're wiring money to, you must deal with them quite a bit. It's not like it just said, we're going to send it to this wiring place. I'm sure you deal with a certain company that you wire the money to, or we invest with a certain company at all times. We don't, that we've dealt with them for years. What I'm saying is we want to know what companies do we have investments with? Where does the money go? The investment company, the public would like to know that. Where the money is being wired, or how we're wiring the money, or what company we're dealing with, they'd like to know that.
So
Thank you.
Sorry, in the accounts of claims, the bucket amounts in there, you'd like them like categorized under each bucket amount of what's included in those different categories? Mr. Martini could.
I'm saying the names of where the money is being wired to. You know, it's not saying Western Union, we're wiring the money to this place, or where is it going? You know, I'm not understanding when it says, it doesn't break it down on the agenda for people. It just says wired. You know, it's just saying it's being wired. When they pick up this agenda, when they get this here, this is what they get. They don't get, well, we sent your money for this we're investing in books, or we're investing in shoes, or we're investing in, it doesn't tell them anything, and it's not transparent. They don't know. And so we need more transparency. So if nobody understands that and it's around and round, that's what it looks like. So we need more transparency, and I'd like to know where. I'm sure the people, they would love to know, but that's not doing it for them. They need to know where.
Accessible. It's publicly accessible on the city's website in the agenda packet.
I would like to know, what company are we using to transfer the money? The bank. What bank are we using to transfer the money? What bank?
I think EFTs are federal government. It's a federal government system that we use to transfer. Is that right, George?
Okay, well, what's the name?
Point over. Can we have Mr. Martini just come up?
Yeah, we can do that. So, but on page 39, if anyone's curious, that's where they start. It lists all the names if you want to know. They're there. It's sideways. I apologize for that, but they're there. We need a motion to suspend the rules too. We don't on this item? It's for the item, okay. Mr. Martini.
The City of Bay City banks, mainly with Independent Bank. We initiate the wires through them. It goes out over the Fed wire system, and can basically go to any bank account that is out there. There is, in the packet, there is a complete detail of all of the wires that we send out. I will say that this past agenda is probably abnormally large because the city makes its debt service payments mainly twice a year on April 1st and October 1st. October 1st, of course, was just a week ago, and there was a lot of wires that went out. That's the largest portion of that $10 million, I would say.
So that's why I'm a little skeptical, because $10 million right now, that's a lot. That's, you know, I need to be skeptical, you know. $10 million, come on now.
Again, all of the companies, all of the banks, all of the locations that we wire them to, for instance, page 56 shows one of the wire sheets, 1.3 million, and but there is a complete detail of each one of those wires. They are all individually listed. That includes things like, one of the wires was $94,000 that we sent out for the 3 pays in the month of September, where we withheld state income taxes from employees. We also wire out almost every pay period close to pushing $500,000 for federal income tax, FICA, Medicare, those categories as well. We have a number of companies that we wire money to, think included just shortly before their
Yes.
the state of Michigan for our dwarf loan repayments. Those were $250,000, $300,000. So the full detail is in the packet.
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking Mr. Reyes, what company? And you said we were dealing with a few companies that we were wiring the money to, because I noticed that $10 million was quite high for, at this time. So I just wanted you to acknowledge that, and thank you very much. And I see when I asked Dana for where that $3 million was, and she said that was the money from the bridges that we had coming in. And I see she's not here, so you're in her place. So she was supposed to be here and acknowledge that, but I see the $3 million has showed up in another way and was amended. So that's what I'm saying. When you're asked about money, it shows up. And so it's a flip-flop thing. And so that's why when I saw the $10 million, it's like, is it part of the $3 million? Is it part of it? Because it just shows up. So then 1 minute, $3 million's there, and then the next minute, $10 million spent. So that's why I was, wondering where it was more of an expenditure. So that's why I was worried, I want to know the different places this money is being wired to. Please let us know that. The banks okay, thank you.
Thank you. I had Commissioner Clements first and then Commissioner Girard.
Call the question.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Girard,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Dockett,
Yes.
Rivet,
Yes.
Bernie,
No.
Brenner,
Yes.
Hilliker.
Yes.
7 yes.
Will the clerk, I'm sorry, the motion is adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item?
Consent item 7, city manager recommending contract with Thomas Brown and Son Roofing Company, Bay City, to replace and install a roof at Fire Station Number 1 in the amount of $90,136.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Morris?
Move to approve?
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Girard?
Second?
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Morris?
I have a question about where this money for the roof is coming from. I see it's from the public improvement budget. I just wanted to know, well, I see here that it says there's adequate funds available. I just want to know how many funds are available in that fund after this possibly goes through.
We'll have Mr. Martini come up for that one.
I tried to get Mr. Martini before he left, tell him to stay close.
The Public Improvement Fund, I believe, has roughly an available balance of about $500,000 in it. And typically, the Public Improvement Fund gets most of its funding from the leftover funds of the general fund. Quite frankly, over the last several years, the general fund has always had unspent balances at the end of the year. Revenues exceeded expenditures, and the commission, of course, has a 20%, 15 to 20% fund balance amount that we want to maintain. Anything over the 20% has typically been moved, but that's typically where the funds come from.
Thank you so much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions for Mr. Martini before I have him go sit down again? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Martini. Does anyone have anything else to add discussion-wise without Mr. Martini? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Clements,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Dockett,
Yes.
Rivet,
Yes.
Bernie,
Yes.
Brenner,
Yes.
Hilliker,
Yes.
Girard,
Yes.
8 yes.
Motion is adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Commissioner Clements' resolution appointing Jesse Dockett as mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Clements?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Brunner?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Clements?
Call the question.
Thank you. Is there, I'm sorry, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Docket.
Abstain.
Rivet.
No.
Bernie.
No.
Brunner.
Yes.
Hilliker.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Clements.
Yes.
5 yes.
Motion is adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item on tonight's agenda?
Commissioner Dockett's resolution appointing Christopher Runberg as the 7th Ward Commissioner.
Thank you. Just to clarify, it is commission as a whole for this one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Commissioner Gerard?
Would you approve?
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Clements?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Rivet?
Thank you, Mr. President. What a great opportunity we have to discuss the importance of the strategy we utilize to appoint people to positions here at the City Hall. We have one more meeting prior to an election where the people will get to decide who our next mayor should be. A single meeting. We've had 6 months of no appointment in the 7th Ward, and we've had basically 6 months of no mayor. And so we have preempted the people by appointing a mayor for a whopping 6 weeks or 7 weeks when we could have waited one single meeting and let the people decide. The people will decide on November 5th. We'll know who the next mayor should be. On November 12th, we had the opportunity to put that person in as mayor to serve for the last 4 meetings of the calendar year. We also had the opportunity, whether it be the 3rd or 6th, to appoint a new commissioner or utilize the vote of the people to choose the next commissioner. So what we've done tonight, with no apparent reason, is circumvented the wishes of the people to serve our own desires.
Point of order, this isn't germane to this discussion.
Oh, it's
7th Ward
it's germane
appointment.
to
No,
the
it's not.
important.
It's not. Point of order, it's not germane.
Please, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Clements?
Call the question.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Dockett.
Yes.
Rivet.
Yes.
Bernie.
Cheating pieces of shit. That's exactly what you
Point of order.
people
Commissioner
are.
Bernie, point of order. Yes or no?
Censor me. Censor me.
Commissioner Bernie?
No.
Okay.
Commissioner Brunner.
Yes.
Hilliker.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Clements.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion is adopted, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much.